Hey everybody, it's been quite a while. So if you are clicking on this video and you are wondering what the hell happened to Nerd Sloth, I'm about to tell you everything. So, Cartoon Boom was ending. That was inevitable. We were planning on ending that podcast. So we got to that date, and the week after, we get an email from a law firm out of Florida, which I won't name because I don't want to be any further on the radar than we already were. This law firm sent us a very aggressive email about how they were representing a music group and they were seeking $20,000 from us for using a clip of music by that music group in one episode of our podcast that was posted years ago. And that if we could not settle amicably out of court, that they could seek the maximum between $100,000 to $150,000 in court. Obviously, a little bit of panic ensues, right? So, with that said, and for those of you that may not be aware of what Cartoon Boom was, it was a podcast on the Nerd Sloth platform that we'd been doing for 7-8 years, 300 something episodes. And because it was a cartoon review podcast, we would often put in like a small clip of the theme music from that cartoon to talk about, and clips of dialogue from it, no more than 10 seconds long or so. And we use that, to critique and explain what we're reviewing. Not much different than you would see in any YouTube video or anything of that sort. So, they come out extremely aggressive. We talk with some legal folks. We get in touch with a few different kind of people, and we are kind of thinking about the exact same thing that you are probably thinking now. Fair use, right? Here's the problem, and why I'm making this video, not only to kind of clear the air and talk about what exactly happened, but also to tell you that fair use does not protect you. Basically, think about the idea of fair use as nothing. Let me read this real quick because I have this pulled up from copyright.gov. So, this is under the fair use doctrine of the U.S. copyright statute, it is permissible to use limited portions of a work, including quotes, for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and scholarly reports. That makes it sound like what we did, totally fine. We should be okay with that. But then you read the next sentence. There are no legal rules permitting the use of a specific number of words and certain number of musical notes or percentage of work. Whether particular use qualifies as fair use depends on all the circumstances. So that's where things get very vague. There is no legal rules permitting the use. That's the problem. So yeah, there's this idea of fair use. There's this fair use doctrine. This is what allows, news corporations, things like that. It's why people on YouTube do a lot of the things they do when they do reviews. Fair use. However, if someone really wanted to legally go after them, they can still do it and have the backing of the law likely on their side. So fair use is honestly just used as an argument in court to try and protect you. And you can cite things like, oh, well, this is what's done in news. And it does make sense we're bringing this up in context to kind of argue the point, to talk about the work, to critique the work, to report on the work, which is what we did as a podcast. However, as we talked with a lot of legal folks, they're like, yes, that kind of works, but a precedent has not been set for that with a lot of modern media, such as podcasts. So while you could go and make that defense in court, because another podcast and similar media has not set that exact precedent yet, there's still a good chance you can lose. So then it comes down to, do we settle out of court, or do we try to fight this in court and potentially lose hundreds of thousands of dollars that we don't have? Because we do this as a passion project. We're supported by donations that we get from our Patreon members, from things like that. The podcast in itself has never actually generated money because we've kept ads off of it. So we the thing we were even getting the specific episode getting targeted for never actually made a dime, which is insane to think about. And you can believe that all those arguments were made towards this law firm. So the attorney we ended up hiring is an attorney that was uniquely familiar with this law firm that was coming after us. And herein lies the rest of this aggravating portion of the story. This law firm that was coming after us specifically works with clients who tend to copyright very specific things. Like they hold the copyright to one song or one piece of artwork or something like that. They copyright one thing, and then they scour the internet looking for anyone who has used that one thing, and then they go after them using this law firm with a brute force attack. This threat of, you pay us $20,000 right now, or we're going to take you to court and sue you for $100,000 or $150,000, or as much as we can get out of you. And they specifically target folks that they think have no representation, or they think that they can scare into just paying that $20,000 right away to try to keep it out of court. Our attorney has dealt with basically this specific law firm in this exact same type of situation before, with a case of a photograph that was purchased and licensed from a third-party website, but there was some loophole within that, and this person ended up still getting penalized, and they came after them for not getting the license basically exclusively from the copyright holders, and saying that this third party company didn't have the rights to it. So instead of going after that third party company, which probably has the money and the means to defend themselves, they come after the person that didn't. It's extremely predatory if you're, figuring this out. So we hire him, And he does a bunch of back and forth with them, and it's just basically his goal is to the initial goal was to try to talk them out of it using all the exact arguments you can think of, we can think of. Doesn't work. And then the goal is to talk them down with the numbers. So a few numbers were shot back and forth, and instead of paying 20,000, we ended up paying 8,000 out of court. And then having to pay legal fees, it all ended up being about 10,000 overall. So, how this impacted Nerd Sloth as a whole, quite a bit. It wiped us out. So all of the money Nerd Sloth had was completely wiped out. And it required Joseph and myself to pay a lot ourselves personally, which me specifically, you know, having just had a baby and having to take care of her needs, and then all of the medical bills and stuff like that from all that all hitting at once, that was a huge problem. So as far as why you're not seeing a whole lot of content, I'm basically having to work lots of extra jobs to try to pay for all of this stuff. So, that's where that is. As far as what happened with the Cartoon Boom episodes, why they're not available any longer. After this happened, we not only decided to pull that specific episode, we pulled all of them. And we also took a look at Night Marathon and pulled that one as well. We will also be pulling Party in Peril. Basically, any of our shows that used sound effects, anything like that, we're pulling them. Some of the shows will be re-edited and launched again, like Cartoon Boom. Some of them won't be going back up. So, with Cartoon Boom, it's 300 something episodes. It's a lot of re-editing. And so having to do that's going to take a really, really long time. So I know I'm getting constant questions almost daily. What's happened with the episodes? When are they going to be back? I don't know when they're going to be back. It's going to take me a really long time to get through all 300 of these while I'm working as much as I'm working to try and pay all this stuff off. But that's where things stand right now. We're still in recovery mode. We will be for a while. I'm in a place where I can start to make a little bit of different content again. So for my own mental health and sanity, I will be doing a few fun things once in a while that I can post. Don't know how consistent it'll be just yet, but there it is. But if you are a creator, please rethink what you're doing. Especially if you do any kind of like media critiquing, things like that. Be so careful, because these people prey on small creators like you. That is their job, is to find you and to go after you. So do what you have to do to protect yourself, and just be wary and know the risks that you're taking if and when you post something. Because we always thought that this was a could never happen situation until it happened. And then we were in denial for sure for a little bit of This can't be real. This has got to be like somebody's trolling kind of thing, until it became very, very real. So it's something we'll be dealing with the repercussions of for a long time. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that this serves as some kind of explanation for those that have been wondering why we've been so quiet for the last several months, why Cartoon Boom and Night Marathon seem to just kind of disappear overnight. This is why. So take care, everybody. I hope to see you again soon.